Are we live? We're not too sure. Now already?
On Facebook.
Hello, Facebook friends. And I'm going to push Instagram here as well. Checking a connection. Hello, going live on Instagram as well. Hopefully on YouTube too. How are you guys? Have you had a good day? I certainly hope so. Lovely to have you join me again for Freakout Island. Now don't forget, if you haven't seen the previous chapters of Freakout Island by Justin Christopher, you can find them on YouTube. We've got the videos set up there. It saves you having to scroll back through my feed. There's a lot going on in my feed at the moment, particularly on Facebook, with the exciting news that we have home learning TV starting again tomorrow. Okay, so that's from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock, TVNZ Duke +1. Actually, I should have got that information about what channel that is on Freeview and on Sky, but you'll find that on my Facebook page and I think on my Instagram page. And if you are here on YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing. We got 5,000 subscribers this morning. That's so cool to finally hit 5,000. So tell your friends, we want more subscribers because we've got lots of content up there and obviously planning to put up some more too. Yeah, so great to have you here. Really enjoying this story, and by the sounds of things, you guys are as well, and that is awesome. Freakout Island by Justin Christopher. Now, if you want to find out more about Justin Christopher, Justin Christopher author on Facebook and Instagram. You can find him at Justin Brown Books because he writes for the big kids as well as the little kids. And if you want a copy of the book yourself, you can find a paperback copy at Fishpond, or you can find an e-version of the book on Amazon. Okay, then you could read along with me. Paperback might take a little while to come, but even then you can watch the clips on YouTube and read back as well, can't you? Okay, so where were we? I won't go into too much detail because those other chapters are already there, but we've just met this chap here. This is Leo. He's a 10-year-old. And he likes to chew bubblegum, and he sometimes swallows it. Actually, he often swallows it. And he's just about to board a plane. Or he just boarded the plane. I've just been reading ahead to make sure that I know what we're eating. And so now I'm a bit confused. Oh no, he's been on the plane. His parents are professional competition winners, and they have won a competition for him to go on this amazing adventure. He knows nothing about it. Luckily, he has just escaped Aunt Margot, who he's been staying with, and he's about to land from the airplane, which was called the Kaput 3000. It's just landing, and he's about to step onto the island with these other children, the 4 other kids. He's just getting to know them now. Interesting bunch of kids. Okay. Forgot to do something. What have I forgot to do? Sing a little song? Oh, okay then. Hey, join in with me. It's our time, kia ora, talofa. It's our time, a special time of day. It's our time, just you and me together. It's time to say hello, g'day, ke te pea koe. Hello, my friend. Thanks for joining me. Are you ready for chapter 4? Nice and comfy? Ready for a story? Well, let's begin. It's showing chapter 2. Well, that's okay. This is chapter 4. Okay. When Leo got to the top of the steps, he glanced down at the runway. A warm breeze blew into his face. He smelt coconut oil and smiled. How very lucky he felt to be here. The children walked down the steps from Kaput 3000, the plane. There to meet them were some more friendly people, all dressed in bright yellow tracksuits like Angela. The friendly islanders, as they called themselves, brought across trays filled with the kind of glasses only adults ever used at home. Each glass was filled to the brim with fresh orange juice and had a tiny blue umbrella at the top, with a purple flower and a cherry on a toothpick. flash. Eden put her umbrella into her pocket. Soon 2 more people in yellow tracksuits turned up. But unlike the other friendly islanders, these 2, a man and a woman, wore blue caps. They each had a gold star on their chest. "I bet they're the bosses," said Harriet. "My name is Volga," said the woman, "and this is Vane, my co-owner of Friendly Island. How wonderful it is to see you all." "Indeed," Vane smiled. His teeth seemed a lot yellower than those of the Friendly Islanders who were handing out the orange juice. "These people smell," said Harriet, perhaps a little too loudly. "Don't you think they smell?" Only then did Leo notice he was holding his nose. "I trust you had a lovely trip," said Vane. "Does anyone know the name of the plane you flew here on?" Eden threw her hand up. "The Kaput 3000! Yes, the Kaput 3000!" And she high-fived all the other children. "Very good," said Vane, then suddenly whistled with his forefinger and thumb. Seconds later, an enormous bird swooped above the children. They looked up in wonder. The multicoloured parrot flew in perfect circles round and around in the blue sky. "It's carrying something," said Leo. "What's it carrying?" "Some sort of—" "Is it a bag?" Felix replied. Within seconds the bird was hovering in front of Vane and Volga, its gigantic wings dropping blue and gold feathers onto the ground. It then very carefully dropped the bag into Vane's hand. "Thank you, Gilbert," said Vane, and handed the bird a treat from his pocket. Gilbert turned to the children, squawked wildly, then took off to a nearby coconut tree. The children were speechless. Vane unzipped the bag and rummaged around inside. "Do you know how lucky you are to be the first to visit Friendly Island?" he asked. "The very first," Volga added. "Imagine telling that to all your friends." Vane found what he wanted from the bag, an assortment of sun hats, small plastic spades, pens and paper. It was the sweets that caught Leo's attention. "Your Friendly Islander starter packs," Vane beamed. The children snatched their bags as they were handed around. Leo dived in and found a green lollipop, his favourite. "Want a swap?" It was Ricky. His lollipop was yellow. "I'd rather get a wedgie than eat this flavour. Yellow lollipops taste like medicine." Sure," said Leo. So he did. "Hey, I want yellow." It was Eden. She had orange. "Okay, I don't really mind," said Leo. Then he noticed Eden snatch 2 lollipops and quickly shoved them into her handbag. A hot flush came over him. How dare she? Vane raised his glass of orange juice. "I want to propose a toast and congratulate you all as young leaders of the future. You will be here for a whole week, by which time you will be cured, ready to go home and tell everyone about your grand adventures." The children raised their glasses, something their parents had always done, but they never had. They slurped their orange juice. Vane rubbed his hands together like someone who had just worked out how to guess the winning numbers of a lottery. "What are you looking forward to most?" he asked. "Boogie boarding," said Harriet. "Safari ride," said Leo. "My own bathroom," mumbled Ricky. "Well, get ready," said Volga, "because you're about to see dolphins and a banana boat. You can water ski, jump on a huge trampoline, navigate a rope course, swim in waterfalls, and discover trapdoor slides and zip lines. If you're extra good, we might even introduce you to the island's resident turtle." "Yes, a turtle. She's tame. You can pet her." "Don't forget the medals," said Vane, rummaging through the bag before pulling out a handful of shiny gold medallions. "Ah, yes, the brand new medals." And said Volga, wiping spilt juice from her new-looking tracksuit. "At the end of your stay, if you've behaved yourself, you will each receive a gold medal to take home. It will be yours to keep." I want," said Eden, attempting to pocket one. "No, they're for the end of the week," said Vane, keeping a very close eye on Eden as he zipped the medals up safely in the bag. "Are there any other questions?" Volga asked. What's the Wi-Fi password, please? Leo asked. No phones allowed, dear boy, Volga replied, or TVs, or video games. Here at Friendly Island, we encourage a totally natural experience, after which you will go home having had the most unforgettable time. Vane raised his glass once more. To our very first and definitely not last group of Friendly Islanders, to a week of wonder, surprise and friends. Welcome to the friendliest place on earth, said Volga. Leo forgot all about his lollipop, mostly because Friendly Island was starting to sound like the best adventure ever. Okay, obviously there was no Midnight Raider game, or Wi-Fi, or Burt Lancaster movies, but none of that seemed to matter one tiny bit. This was like a school camp. Imagine the food, the crazy times, no homework, and just like his folks used to say, winner, winner, chicken dinner, yay! The children walked along Barefoot Beach. The sand was warm and golden. Leo looked down at his feet in the shallow water and was mesmerised by tiny, brightly coloured fish playing in the current. There were crabs too, but these weren't nasty crabs. These were comedian crabs. Leo chased one along the beach and began to wonder whether there were crabs at all. To him, they seemed more like crazy little white spiders. So far, Leo had counted 3 other Friendly Island workers. Apart from Vane and Volga, there was Angela, beautiful Angela, and 2 other men. Their names were George and Jerry, and they looked like identical twins. They were the same height, wore the same yellow tracksuit, and had the same haircuts, short back and sides. They even sounded the same. Their voices were squeaky and annoying, like ambulance sirens. Time for a little snack, said George, placing an enormous tray of food in front of the children. Wow, thought Leo. If this was a snack, he wondered what a proper meal might be like. Is this pawpaw? Harriet asked. How quaint. We only normally have that when it's in season. Out of the way. Hey, don't eat all the pizza, said Ricky. Donuts, cried Felix. Fries, said Leo. I don't know about you guys, said Eden, her mouth filled with cheese and chips, but I ain't ever going home. But what about school? Leo asked. Already scratched it from my memory, she laughed. Right now, Leo Wrigley felt exactly the same. Soon the children could eat no more, and they collapsed into a heap beneath the shade of a coconut tree, squishing warm sand through their fingers. And that's the end of chapter 4. So, would you like chapter 5? Shall we? Oh, okay. Go on then. So, okay. I've just been reminded that on my knee I have a rather large tablet with some people I could say hello to. So shall I quickly say a quick hello before chapter 5? Okay. Hello to John. Hello. Hello, Mark. Hello, Isia, I think that is. Hello, Laurie. Hello, Michaela. And Zeke. Hello. Who else have we got here? If I scroll back a bit. Chardonnay. Hello. Also, Brenda Lee. You've got the family there. Fantastic, Brenda Lee. Hi, Hayden. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Bex. Hi, Abby. Hi, William. Hi, Lee. Hi, Deanne. Great to have you back again. Trisha. Hello. Hi, Jess. Hi, Catherine. Great. So hopefully all those are coming from Instagram, Facebook, and from YouTube. Maybe not Instagram. Maybe I need to do a couple from here. Hello, Joshua. Hello, Squashly. Is it Squashly? Hello, Xavier. Hello, Michelle. Okay, lots of people to say hello to. But how about chapter 5 and then that other song? Okay, here we go. Chapter 5. It was time for George and Jerry to round the children up. We will now march to the super secret hut, Jerry said. This is where you'll find your beds and be able to put down your heavy bags. Further along the dirt path, Leo flicked open the map he and the children had been given. His forefinger hovered over a smaller version of the ruined building he saw on a nearby hill. What do you think is in there? Felix looked a little closer at the map. It says here, Meconium House. Yep, Meconium House. I wonder what's in there, Leo replied. Maybe it's a fearfall, or a terror. No, terror? Or a tower of terror. Maybe there's a roller coaster. Hope so, said Felix. I love that kind of stuff. Have you actually done it? Leo asked. What, the fearfall? Yep. Or have you ever gone on a roller coaster? Sure, who hasn't? Me? Leo replied, his head hanging low. Felix held his hand out for a fist bump. We're going to have some fun, buddy. There was no light at all now, just strange noises, loud and unfamiliar. The children huddled closely together as they walked through the dark jungle. Soon they could no longer see Meconium House. They were cold for the first time since they'd arrived. Shivers ran down their backs. Hot sand changed into chilly rocks. This was nothing like Barefoot Beach. Where are we going exactly? Ricky asked from the back of the line. To your sleeping quarters, replied George, the friendly island worker. How far is it? Ricky asked. Not far, came the reply. How far? Said Ricky. Friendly Island is all about making new friends, said George. Agreed, George, said Jerry. So let's spend this time getting to know each other a little better. I don't need any new friends, Ricky replied. I'm hot, said Harriet. I'm tired, said Eden. I need technology, said Ricky. The children arrived at the entrance to a dark, airy pathway. The long snake-like track wound its way through lush greenery. Sweat dripped from Leo's forehead. He was thirsty. Felix reached into his pocket and flipped on his torch. A howling sound came from above. Hundreds of leaves drifted down. Something was up there. But what? Maybe it's Gilbert, Vane's bird, remember? Said Leo. I think they're howler monkeys, said Felix. Huh? Monkeys? Said Leo. No way. Where? But the children didn't have to look too hard. Soon there were enough howler monkeys for everyone. They flew from branch to branch, their long muscular tails as strong as ropes. There was even a baby surfing on the back of its mother, swinging dangerously high above the ground. Oh, I want to take one home, said Harriet. How much are they? Watch out, cried Eden. Ricky had very nearly stepped on a brilliant blue butterfly. Good spotting, Eden, said Felix, inspecting the exotic insect. You almost killed a blue morpho. They love eating rotting fruit. That's probably why it was on the ground. Harriet placed her hands on her hips. Whoop-dee-doo, she said. We've been on the island for 5 minutes and you think you know everything. How do you know they're howler monkeys, huh? She pointed to the butterfly and snorted. And how do you know that this thing is called a blue warto? Morpho, said Felix. Blue morpho? Huh, Mr. Know-it-all. Well, I can tie a reef knot. Which will come in handy when we go on our boat ride, said Jerry. We're going on a boat ride? Leo asked. Really? Harriet scoffed. Wow, it's like the kid has never been on a boat before. Leo bit his tongue and kept walking, hoping very much that the children would have their own rooms in the super secret hut. This way. I know the way, said Harriet, and I bag first pick of the rooms. The rest of the children watched as she ran ahead, her shiny backpack swinging from side to side like a pendulum. The group soon reached a large door with a sign above it that read, Super Secret Hut. George reached for the rusty door handle. Feel free to unpack your bags, but don't be too long. You don't want to miss Dive Bomb Rock at sunset. Then it's time for bacon and waffles. That's if we have enough food to go round, Jerry whispered, perhaps a little too loudly. Shh, Jerry, George replied, and held the door open for the children. So yes, Dive Bomb Rock, just wait till you see it. I'm going to do a flip into the sea, said Felix. I'd rather go for a long, winding car ride than get wet, grumbled Ricky. The super secret hut was a long, dark hall with beds lining each side. It wasn't exactly a 5-star hotel room, but Leo wasn't about to complain. He'd always been taught to be a polite guest. George and Jerry waited outside the hut's entrance. Oh, it smells, don't you think? Said Eden. Like my teacher's shoes, added Ricky. Suddenly, a panicked-looking Harriet scurried from one corner of the hut to the other. She was bouncing around like an air hockey puck. "Okay, this is some kind of a joke," she screamed. "Where are the rooms?" "Obviously there are no rooms," said Leo, secretly wishing he had his own. "Ha!" Harriet replied, opening the front door. "Well, I'll just move to another hotel." But as she was storming out, George and Jerry were coming back in. "Are we all ready for Dive Bomb Rock?" he asked. "I want another hotel room. This one is inadequate." George covered his mouth with his hand. "What?" Harriet yelled. "There are no hotels on the island, Harriet," said George. "This is your hotel." "He's right," Jerry added. "As we said on our walk here, Friendly Island is all about—" "Me getting a tan," snapped Harriet, "and not sleeping in the same room as boys." "I agree with Harriet," said Eden. "I love hotels. The free soap, the free towels, free moisturiser, free hairdryers, pens. There's just so much." Leo began hiding his secret stash of doubly bubbly beneath his mattress. He knew he had to hide it well because a certain person had very sticky fingers. As Harriet tried in vain to change her accommodation, Leo lay on his bed. The sheets smelt old and musty, as if every person on earth had once used them. But he did find something very interesting. A sign above his bed which read, "Master Leo Wrigley." Beside that, in very small writing, were the letters G.S. "Felix, what do you think G.S. stands for?" he asked. Felix slid over to Leo's bed and inspected the sign. "G.S.? Where?" "In tiny letters next to my name. What does it mean?" Felix said with one finger firmly wedged up his right nostril. "Got any phobias? Are you gluten intolerant? Allergic to anything?" "Only to your boogies," Leo giggled. With that, Felix pulled his finger out of his nose and offered what was on it to Leo. Oh, just like on the Kaput 3000. "Jealous? Want one?" "Yuck, no way," said Leo and skidded across the hut. "Hey, everyone's got initials on their name tags. Eden has TB, Harriet's got HC, and Ricky's got PM. Felix found his own name tag. "Ha! You're right," he said, and he wiped his filthy hands on his trousers. "My one says Felix NP. NP. Huh? Maybe it's a code for something." "Oh no. No, no, no," came a harrowing cry. "No!" The four children stopped what they were doing and sprinted in the direction of the cries. And at the end of the hut they found Harriet. She was lying in a crumpled heap with her head in her hands. "What is it, Harriet?" Leo asked. "Did you see a spider? Or a snake?" "Worse," said Harriet, pointing to the door above her. "There's only one bathroom." "So," said Ricky, "we have to share with boys. This is terrible. Boys stink." "Get over it," said Ricky. "No, boys do stink," said Eden. "My brother doesn't even know how to put down the toilet seat, and he pees all over the floor, sometimes on the wall. Boys are disgusting." That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Cool. The doors of the super secret hut burst open, and George and Jerry marched in. This time, though, they had someone else with them. Angela. "Time for Dive Bomb Rock," said George. "Then bacon and waffles," added Jerry. The children didn't need a second invitation, all barreling towards the door and straight out of it. Leo was the last to leave, choosing instead to stand beside Angela. He had a question, but really he just wanted an excuse to stare. "Excuse me, Angela," he said, wondering which of Burt Lancaster's on-screen girlfriends she looked most like. "What do the initials next to our names mean?" "The initials?" Angela replied, and then she seemed to freeze. "The initials by our names above our beds," said Leo. "Mine says GS. What does it stand for, please?" Angela seemed to have forgotten how to speak. Her face was swiftly turning the colour of beetroot. "The initials are for identification. Like your passport when you go overseas," she continued, a little too enthusiastically. "Each one of you has a different set of initials." "Oh," said Leo, and he was about to scoot to the front to join Felix when he felt his elbow being pulled back. Angela leant down. She was just inches from his face. "I forgot to ask. Did you find your wee chocolate?" she asked. "By your bed?" "Yes, I did, thank you," said Leo, because he had, though what he didn't tell Angela was that when he unwrapped them, he desperately hoped to find they'd be filled with caramel or sweet strawberry. But the first chocolate he opened wasn't even brown. It was covered in white powder and was so old that it crumbled in his hand. It was the same with the next chocolate and the one after that. But even stranger than these ancient and inedible chocolates was the note that came with them. It seemed to be written by someone who was trying their best to be nice. This is what it said. "We do hope you enjoy your time on Friendly Island. Please accept these bedtime sweets and let us know if there's anything we can do to make your stay here more enjoyable. Yours sincerely, Vain and Vulgar." Leo passed the note to Angela, who read it. "Do you think Vain and Vulgar know their chocolates are too old to eat?" he asked. "And why are they being so nice to us?" Angela shrugged. "Who knows what those guys get up to," she said, heading towards the front door. "Come on, we'll be late. I have a feeling you're the sort of person who will love this next bit." And Angela sprinted down the path as Leo tried his best to keep up. A short time later, Leo and Felix were in the throes of an epic sword fight on Barefoot Beach. Eden and Harriet hurled huge gloopy piles of sloshy mud at each Eden and Harriet hurled huge, gloopy piles of sloshy mud at each other. How exciting! Then George and Jerry showed the children how to climb a coconut tree. Suddenly, Leo felt himself being yanked in another direction completely. It was Felix. "I've got an idea," he whispered. "Come on." Both boys checked that the Friendly Island workers weren't watching, and Leo followed Felix around jagged rocks which wound their way around the island. The boys soon arrived at a ledge which sat high above crystal clear water. "This is Dive Bomb Rock, I'm sure of it," said Felix, and he took his shirt off immediately. Leo tentatively stepped forward. His heart began to race as he glanced over the edge. This was far higher than the diving board at his school, or even the one his mum once took him to. It was higher and scarier than those two put together. "How deep is the water?" he asked, peering over the edge into what seemed to be certain death. "Soon find out," replied Felix, and he sprang off the rock, launching himself into the air with both feet. When he entered the water with his arms and legs were straight and his toes were pointed, Leo watched in wonder. It was the perfect dive. But what followed was not nearly as graceful. When Felix came up for air, he had what looked like two long white candlesticks dripping from his nostrils. Seconds later, he sniffed, and they disappeared right into his head. "How did I do?" Felix yelled. "Give me a mark out of 10, like they do at the Olympics." Leo shook his head and giggled. "Well, I give you 10 out of 10 for the dive, but 1 out of 10 for what just came out of your nose. Ugh." Felix laughed and attempted to splash Leo, an impossible task given how far from the ledge he was. "You do better then," he yelled, basking in the ocean water. "Better than the dive or the boogies?" Leo asked. "Both," replied Felix. "Oh no," Leo thought to himself, and cast his mind back to those dreadful swimming classes at school. He came last in every single race. It had only taken a few lessons to discover that he was better at computer games than he was at being a fish. To Leo, the only thing worse than a swimming pool was being forced to dive into one. "Come on, what are you waiting for?" Felix yelled. "Dive in!" Leo very slowly took off his shoes and socks, followed by his shirt. He daren't look down into the surf. He stood on the edge of the rock, blowing his long fringe away from his eyes. He was struggling for words. I might just jump," he said. "No, dive! You've got to dive!" Leo paused. A coldness ran through his body. He was about to be found out. His brand new friend was going to discover that he had hardly ever left his bedroom in Gumsbury. Then suddenly, "I'll show you my helicopter dive," he yelled back to Felix. "Your what?" My helicopter dive! Leo hurled himself from the ledge, extending his arms straight out and performing a flawless 360-degree spin before landing in the water with an almighty splash. When he burst from the surface, Felix's face was inches from his own. Helicopter! Felix hollered. I gotta remember that one for next time. Beneath the water, Leo yelled a little whoopee to himself. He was delighted. He lay on his back and let the sun warm his face. When he flipped the right way up, another head greeted him. And it wasn't Felix's. It was a creature. But what exactly? A huge prehistoric face with a gaping mouth and demonic eyes. Leo couldn't get much detail, however, because as soon as he saw it, he frantically looked to his friend. Felix, he cried, did you see that? That thing? What was it? A horrid sound came from behind him. It sounded like someone sucking the last drops of a milkshake through a straw. There was the same head again, and under the water it went again, and there was the noise again. When the head appeared again a few seconds later, Leo managed a closer look. The thing, whatever it was like nothing he had ever seen. It had huge black spots on a white face and big black eyes on a big black head with a beak. Surely that couldn't be a beak. Felix hadn't heard anything, instead choosing to lie on his back and smile as if he was in a pool at a 5-star hotel. The head popped up again. Leo thrashed through the water, but the memory of those horrid swimming lessons resurfaced. With all of his might, he pulled himself up onto the jagged pieces of coral, cutting his big toe in his hand, but he was so shocked that he barely felt a thing. He scrambled to the top of the ledge, sea water stinging his eyes. Then Leo felt a hand on his shoulder. It was George, the friendly island worker. I wonder where you two had got to, he said, and chuckled when he saw the creature in the water below. Well, aren't you lucky? I see you've already met Shelley. Shelley? Leo asked, rubbing his eyes to clear them of salt water. Friendly Island's resident turtle, said Jerry. Don't go giving her too much attention. She'll never leave you alone. Really? Leo asked, his frown switching to a grin. You'd better hold your breath, said George. This little lady can hold her breath for 5 hours, and she's a fast swimmer, so I hope you are too. Nope, Leo replied, and quick as a flash he helicoptered himself into the clear water. He slowly reached out to pat Shelley's head. Be careful, Jerry called down, and Leo pulled his hand away. Do you have a dog or cat at home? Jerry asked. Yes, sir. Peace and Quiet is the best dog in the world. Well, Shelley is very different to Peace and Quiet, said Jerry. She's happiest when she feels safe and secure. That means if you want to pet her, do so on her shell, not on her face. Leo wondered if Shelley would allow him to stroke her shiny back, so he tried it. And she let him. Leo ran his hand down her rough mountainous shell, and then she was off, drifting and swirling and spinning under the waves. She spiraled like a corkscrew, and he plunged and paddled. Leo dived, and when he came up for air, Shelley had disappeared. Suddenly, blurp, Shelley came up too. Then she was gone again. Leo tried to swim after her, but she was flying through the water. Wow, he thought to himself, this magnificent animal was so calm and gentle one minute, yet when she slapped her flippers into action, she shot off like a rocket. Wow, what a week this was going to be. Suddenly Leo felt something grab his leg. A wave pulled him under. When he resurfaced, he saw Felix. Seen the shark? Felix said. The what? Then he saw a fin. He was sure of it. A dark blue fin racing through the water so quickly Leo could barely keep track of it. Felix, Leo yelled, exiting the water. Get out, now! Goodness, said George, spying the fin which was now circling Felix like the blade of an axe. You've also met Zoom. Zoom? Leo stammered. You young men have hit the jackpot today, Jerry added. Shelley and our pet dolphin. These two are great friends. They love playing together. That fin, that's a dolphin? It's a dolphin, not a shark? You'll see plenty more of those on our dolphin safari later in the week. Woo! Check this out. It was Felix. He was being dragged along by Zoom, the dolphin's tail. When he fell off, Leo took over, and before he knew it, he too was being towed through the waves by this wonderfully graceful animal. I want to have a turn, said Harriet. I'm next, said Eden. No one told me there were dolphins, Ricky added. Stink! I've been stuck climbing a stupid coconut tree. Leo turned his attention to George and Jerry. Ricky was being so rude he felt a telling off was coming for certain, but it was headed off by a loud squawk from above. It was Gilbert the parrot who landed on Jerry's shoulder and passed him a piece of paper from his beak. Who's hungry? Said George. The feast is ready. The children ran through the dark jungle. Their bellies were empty and nothing would stop them from finding the feast. Leo, however, was not nearly as quick as his friends. He had discovered as a young child that running, just like swimming, was not really his thing, and decided it was best to avoid both. If only he'd met Zuma sooner. The children's cries became fainter as Leo slowed to a brisk walk. He noticed George and Jerry behind him. Are we really having bacon and waffles for dinner? He asked. Of course, George replied. But isn't that normally breakfast? We do things very differently on Friendly Island, Jerry replied. There are plenty of wonderful surprises for well-behaved children like you. And that's the end of Chapter 5. Chapter 6 to come, and so many more chapters. A good story, isn't it? The story of Freakout Island. It's by Justin Christopher. You can find Justin Christopher Author on Instagram and Facebook. You can find his website, Justin Brown Books, and you can find the book on Fishpond. You can order a hard copy there or a paperback, and you can find an e-version of the book on Amazon. Go and check it out tomorrow. Then you could have a copy that you could read at the same time as me. Because remember, no pictures in the book. The only picture is this one here on the cover. And the picture is by Justin's daughter, Sophie. So what do you think? Tell me what you think below. I'll have a quick look here. Oh, what's not working on YouTube, Lydia? Oh, hopefully it's still up on YouTube. Well, this was a wee while ago. Am I at the top of the scroll? Sorry about that. Who can we say hello to? Keep reading, said Katie. Oh, no, it's time to say goodnight now, Katie. It's 8:30. It's time we were all in bed. Matthew caught the tail end of the chapter. Matthew, go and check it out on YouTube, or you'll find it here on Instagram and on Facebook as well. But I'm really enjoying your company. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're already in bed, make sure you're all snuggled down. Have a big stretch. Snuggle into the pillow. Maybe breathe all the way down to your feet. Come on, let's do that now. Even if you're not in bed, breathe all the way down to your feet. And you say, breathe out. Just relax. And have a wonderful evening. And I will see you tomorrow night for another chapter. How about that? Hey, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Do that tomorrow if you're already in bed. And there's plenty more stories. There'll be another picture book story tomorrow afternoon going up too. And that is called... Oh, I didn't check which book it was. But it will be in Susie's Book Corner. And I will see you tomorrow. See you later, it's time to say goodbye. See you later, I've really got to fly. See you later, it's time for us to end. See you later, but come on back again, okay? Goodbye, my friend. Sweet dreams.